Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as we look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get our wrestling history on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is October 20th, and we're going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1958, it's the bad guy, Scott Hall. 1970, Tiger Mask 4. Staying in 1970, it's Chavito Chavo Guerrero Jr. And last but not least, 1995, NXT and Raw talent, Humberto Carrillo. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for October 20th, 2014, the man with the hurt punch, Ox Baker. All right, enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for October 20th. Jumping in the Wayback Machine and going all the way to 1922, where we see Clarence Eklund defeat Helmer Meyer to win the World Light Heavyweight title in Sheridan, Wyoming. Fast forwarding 33 years to 1955, Bill Savage and Buck Weaver defeat Luigi Mercina and Dick Torrey to win the NWA Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles. Grooving into the 60s, 1964, Mad Dog Vachon defeats Vern Gagne for the AWA World Heavyweight title in Minneapolis, Minnesota, ending Gagne's 7th reign with the title and beginning his own second run with the belt. Next stop, 1969, Jackie Fargo and Dennis Hall defeat Don and Al Green to win the NWA Southern Tag Team titles in Memphis, Tennessee. Grabbing my bell-bottoms and disco ducking to the 70s, 1972, Dick Steinborn and Argentina Apollo defeat Skandar Akbar and Ox Baker to win the NWA Georgia Tag Team titles in Atlanta, Georgia. Moving to 1979, Dutch Mantel defeats Dennis Condrey for his 5th NWA Mid-American Heavyweight title in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Grabbing my boombox and going to the 80s, 1983. Buzz Tyler wins his 2nd NWA Central States Heavyweight title by defeating Super Destroyer in Kansas City, Kansas. That next year in 1984, Dusty Rhodes and Manny Fernandez defeat Ivan Koloff and Don Kernodle for the NWA World Tag Team titles in Greensboro, North Carolina. Making 2 stops in 1986, first, Crusher Yorkoff, a.k.a. Bam Bam Bigelow, defeats Steve Simpson for the world-class television title in Fort Worth, Texas. Our second stop in 1986, Tracy Smothers begins his 2nd reign as NWA Mid-American Heavyweight Champion by defeating Boy Tony, a.k.a. Tony Falk, in Memphis, Tennessee. Bumping ahead 2 years for 2 stops in 1989, first, Kerry Von Erich defeats The Punisher, a.k.a. The Undertaker, for the USWA Texas Heavyweight title in Dallas, Texas. Our second stop in 89, Stan Hansen and Genrico Tenryu defeat Jumbo Teruta and Yakashaki Yatsu for the All Japan World Tag Team titles in Japan, ending Teratsu's and Yatsu's 5th and final title reign. On the same show, Masanobu Fuchi defeats Joe Malenko to win the All Japan World Junior Heavyweight title. Grabbing my flannel and going to the decade of grunge, 1995. Terry Gordy pins Brad Armstrong to win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight title. And last but not least, 1996. The WWF held their 11th In Your House pay-per-view, nicknamed Buried Alive. The Undertaker defeats Mankind in a Buried Alive match when Taker hit a tombstone pile driver and chokeslammed Mankind into the grave and shoveled some dirt on him. The Executioner, a.k.a. Terry Gordy, then made his debut, hitting Undertaker with a shovel, helping Mankind out of the grave. Goldust, Crush, Bradshaw, and Triple H then came out to help Mankind and the Executioner bury the Undertaker completely, filling the whole grave. After they left, a lightning bolt came down and hit the tombstone near the grave, and the Undertaker's arm shot up from the dirt to end the show. Those were your super short but sweet pro wrestling history highlights for October 20th. I'm the Eclectic Gentleman, Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.